How do you communicate? How do you communicate with your significant other? Well, it's not easy, but it's easier if you guys come up with a strategy. So talk about communicate. How are you guys going to communicate? Maybe during your pillow talk, or maybe over dinner, or and when you're sitting on the couch. Don't ever try to talk about communication while y'all mad at each other or y'all in the middle of an argument. And just try to come up with some type of strategies for you guys to communicate better. Talk about it. And before you decide to argue about something or get mad at somebody about something, especially if it's trivial, try to figure out, is it worth the peace in the relationship? Yeah, I know he left his drawers in the middle of the floor, or he left the toilet seat up, or she didn't do the dishes, or she didn't cook, or whatever. Fine. Just handle that yourself. Ain't no reason to argue about that. And if you do get into a disagreement, understand that you're in it to win. You're in it to make this thing better. So when you're in a disagreement, there's no reason to call that person out of their name. Call him a bitch or her a bitch or a slut or you no good, and just cursing and insults. That's just throwing gasoline on the fire. But at the end of the day, the only reason why you're arguing is because you're not getting what you want. Things are not happening the way you want them to. So if you want things to happen the way you want them to, you got to communicate with each other, not yell at each other. And show empathy towards the individual that you're talking to. What I mean by the empathy is to put yourself in their position. First and foremost, if there is a conflict, make sure you ain't the cause of the conflict. Be accountable to this situation. Make sure that you're not the one that's causing the problem to begin with. Sweep around your own back door before you try to sweep around mine. Get the plank out of your own eye before you try to get the peck out of mine. That's scripture, actually. And listen to the individual. Don't just hear him, listen. You ever talk to somebody and while you're talking, you know they're not listening to you. They're just thinking about what they're going to say until they're going to waiting for you to shut up so they can say what they got to say. Well, that's not listening. Show active listening. Try to understand. So I'm talking about empathy. Understand what the other person is saying before you respond. Don't go on the offense all the time. Or don't be defensive all the time. Your goal is resolution. Your goal is peace. It's not to be right. Right ain't worth 2 cents if the problem is still there. Your resolution should not, the reason for communicating is not to be right or prove somebody wrong. It's to bring about peace in your relationship. And here's the thing. Some people, it's an art to communicate. So if things get to a point, and you have to come to this agreement before your next argument or before your next disagreement, get a safe word like pineapple or orange or puppy or whatever. So when I say pineapple or orange or puppy, that means be quiet, leave me alone, and we'll talk about it later. Because if somebody doesn't feel like talking, or if somebody talks while they're angry, they may say some things that they don't mean, and then it becomes harmful. Then these people start saying things that they can't take back and doing things that they can't take back, and probably even wind up in jail. So agree to a safe word and respect the safe word. So if you're angry at your man about something and he says pineapple, be quiet and go on about your business. If he needs to walk away, or if she did something you don't like, say the safe word, and she says the safe word, you be quiet, and y'all go back and you talk, because things are always done wrong when there's bad energy or bad emotion involved. Ask questions. What I'm saying is, why did you leave the door unlocked? You're accusing them. You could easily say, did you leave the door unlocked? That makes them look inward more so than be defensive. So don't always come out and say and accuse people of stuff. Just ask them questions. No matter what it is, put it in a form of a question before you use accusations. And please, please do not use their past as a weapon. Let's deal with the situation at hand. Bringing up old shit does not solve anything. You learn from the past. You don't dwell in the past. You don't need to keep reminding somebody about the same mistake over and over again. Focus on what's at hand. Here's the last thing. Don't be afraid to apologize. You'd be surprised how many people just can't fix their mouth to say I'm sorry after they wronged someone. Being apologetic is huge. First and foremost, it shows that you are remorseful for what you've done. And it gives the other person closure, because they understand that not only did you admit that you were wrong, that you're going to try to make steps not to do that again. So just remember that communicating is the only way that you're going to ever have a peaceful, a meaningful, and fulfilling relationship with the one you love. If you can't communicate, all the other stuff becomes null and void. And remember, it's a skill that you have to work on. It's a process. So you may have to have your communication discussion more than once to get it right.